Hello, welcome to today's Connection Through Music video. So today I wanted to talk about how music can be used to convey information and to send signals about things. This is a huge topic, so it's not something that I can cover in a 5-minute video, but I'm going to start with a very small part of it today, which is something that you can easily take away and use at home or at school with any children that you know who have who need a bit of help sort of supporting changes and routines and transitions in day-to-day life. So when you think about it, the idea that music by itself can convey information or signal things might seem a little bit strange, but we're actually subject to this anytime we switch on the TV, anytime we listen to the radio. We hear a jingle, we hear an advert, and there's a little bit of music at the end with the strapline. So like when I was growing up, it would have been a visit to McDonald's makes your day, and I can still remember that 25 years later. So it's obviously done its job, and advertisers know that music can do this. Composers, songwriters know that music can do this. It actually has a name. It's a hook. So when you're writing a song, you start by writing a hook, which is the thing that gets into your head. And the most literal hook that I've ever heard is I just can't get you out of my head, which just does exactly what it says on the tin. Hooks you in, sticks in your head. So the way that we can make use of this in our day-to-day lives is by using songs as signals to children that something's about to happen, something's about to change, that they need to do something. For example, the one that I use a lot with my son at home is to the tune of Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush. And I use that to signal to him that it's time to calm down, to be patient, that he has to wait for things. If you're watching the short version of this on Twitter, then click through to the YouTube version, which will give you the full video, and I will talk a little bit more in detail about how I use that and how it helps support us in everyday life. So here we go round the mulberry bush. This came completely out of nowhere. I didn't consciously intend to set this up as a tune that I use, but when we were very first getting to know my son, when we were adopting him, and one of the things that was quite tricky was because obviously he didn't know us, so he was in a car with these strange people who didn't know. He didn't really know where we were going, how long it was going to be, so he was obviously quite anxious about where are we going, when are we going to get there, do you know how to get there, all of that kind of thing. And so we started singing to him, and when we were in the car we would sing, we're nearly there, we're nearly there, we're nearly there, we're nearly there, etc, etc. Well, I think it possibly started out as this is the way to Pizza Hut, Pizza Hut, or wherever we happened to be going. Actually, I think it was Frankie and Benny's thinking about it. But then we started to use that song quite regularly, and I remember the first time when we drove home with him from his foster carer's house, which was a good hour or so in the car, we had to sing practically the whole time, this is the way to our house, our house, our house. And then when we get there, when we arrive, we always have here we are, here we are, here we are, here we are. And over the kind of repeated use of that, he will actually, my son will actually initiate that himself. Now, if he's feeling a little bit fractious on a journey, he'll and he wants a bit of reassurance, then he will start to initiate that. But what we can also do is we can then use the same melody with different words in other situations. So if we wanted to get him to calm down because we're cooking dinner, for example, if he's having to wait for his dinner, then we could say, we're cutting the chicken, we're cutting the chicken, cutting the chicken, cutting the chicken, and just sort of describe every process of the dinner making as you're going through it. I mean, it sounds a bit sort of laborious, but if the alternative is to have a sort of a screaming meltdown in the corner, then sometimes singing about cutting up chicken and vegetables is infinitely preferable. And what we've found over time is that this song has become kind of embedded as our sort of calm down, take a breath, we need to be patient song. and it sort of happened without us even realising it, but it's something that you can do quite deliberately. So pick a familiar song, a favourite song that you know, a simple one is usually best, and then just give it a go. There's all sorts of different things you can use. London Bridge is quite a good one. Now it's time to tidy up, tidy up, tidy up. Now it's time to tidy up, we're all finished. And now it's time to eat some lunch, eat some lunch, eat some lunch. So the London Bridge tune, for example, could be a good one to use for a new activity. And then with repeated use over time, the child gets to recognise that this song is what happens when we are transitioning into a new activity. Something different is happening. We're tidying up, we're getting ready for lunch, we're putting our shoes on, all of that sorts of things. If you've got a slightly older child, then you could use pop songs, or just any other songs that they like. Anything, really. I have been known to rewrite some of the Frozen tracks to things like let's go home, can't stay here anymore. And of course the benefit to that is that it usually makes the kids laugh. So as soon as you've got them laughing, then they're halfway to accepting what you want them to do anyway, because it's fun and it's playful and it's silly, and they're much more amenable to sort of going along rather than getting stressed out about things. So anyway, I'm going to come back to this another day, I think, because it's a really interesting topic. I have talked about it a bit in my book, Adopting a Musical Approach. We've got a whole chapter on routine songs and transition. So if you want some more ideas of that sort of thing, then have a look in there. And I'm also going to talk another time in a bit more detail about how particular little bits of sound and of repeated melodic patterns can be used to help communicate for people who find that really difficult to do. So that's it for today, because this video is getting quite long already. If you've got any questions, then let me know, and if you've got any particular difficulties or topics that you want me to talk on, then drop me a comment, let me know. Bye.